សមាជិកគណៈបក្សសង្គ្រោះជាតិប្រាជ្ញាបញ្ញាសាមគ្គីក្រុមនានាសង្គ្រោះបម្រើការពារកម្ពុជាខ្មែរត្រឹមរកគ្នាទាមទារសិទ្ធិសេរីឯករាជ្យបូរណភាពអធិបតេយ្យខ្មែរប្រស្រីបដូរផ្ដាច់ថែរក្សាមិនឲ្យបរទេសឈ្លានពានមកត្រួតត្រាសម្បត្តិដូនតាធនធានជាតិខ្មែរ
And good evening, welcome, and thank you for joining our show today. This is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice, this show part of the CNRP America live show. My name is Linda Wu, and I will be your host for today. Today is Monday, April 12, 2021. Our topic for today is COVID-19 vaccine, safely and the pandemic. Before we start, please help to support our petitions, ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Our petition is at change.org. We need at least 500,000 signatures. So your support is very important to our petitions. This is the only way we will find justice for the victim of the state-backed killing. Please help to join our petition. Please help to join our effort in finding impunity for justice in Cambodia. Please watch a little video, a short video by Her Excellency Mosaku explaining the ending impunity for justice in Cambodia.
Between 1975 and 1979, the green rice fields of Cambodia became the killing fields of Cambodia. Over 2 million lives were lost, including the lives of my own parents and many of my relatives. The Khmer Rouge wanted a society that is equal according to them. We still live and we are haunted with the legacy of the Khmer Rouge, which is the culture of impunity that continues to exist in Cambodia today. It is for this reason that we have started a campaign, worldwide campaign, a campaign to end impunity in Cambodia by seeking justice for cases, for the executions, for the killings that are organized, that are backed by the state. Among those cases of state-backed killings are the killings of Chivichir, a very famous trade union leader, Bisep Pilaka, a ballet dancer, of Kemley, an independent analyst, of Chutvuti, a well-known environmentalist, of Venerable Sun Bunthun, who was advocating for the monks to have the right to vote, including workers who demanded fair wages. The campaign will also advocate for governments that are members of the United Nations to put pressure on the government of Cambodia to conduct independent investigations by using universal tools such as the UN Protocol for Independent Investigation. The campaign will also advocate for governments that believe and want to protect universal human rights to impose sanctions on the leaders of the government of Cambodia who are implicated in these state-backed extrajudicial killings. We ask you to be with us, to support us, to be part of a campaign to end the culture of impunity in Cambodia and to find justice for those who have been waiting for justice for their loved ones killed by the state. There cannot be real peace unless there is justice. There cannot be justice unless there is independent investigation. And then take those cases to an independent justice system. Join us by signing on this petition. Thank you.
យើងរួមគ្នាបញ្ចប់នីតិរដ្ឋភាពដើម្បីយុត្តិធម៌នៅកម្ពុជា
Welcome back. Please help to sign our petition to support our petitions at change.org, ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. So far, we have 72,681 signatures. So your support is really important in finding justice for victims of backstate killing in Cambodia. Again, change.org, ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Thank you. I would like to welcome my guests. I have two wonderful guests. They've been here before. They are so nice. Always last minute schedule. They always here. So let me welcome my first guest. Her name is Sita Arunson. She is the CNRP America supporter in California. Let me bring her out. Kim Hip Su Bong, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. How you been?
I'm good. Busy between work and a little bit of everything else.
And how is where you at? How is the life over there in Fresno?
It's getting better. We get to get out more now. The restriction of the COVID is not as strict as it used to be, because a lot of people, since we're talking about the vaccine today, so since a lot of people, many people got vaccinated already. So there's still some that still are not being vaccinated yet, but the restriction has been lifted, not as strict as it used to be.
Okay, thank you, Bong. And as always, thank you for being here today.
No problem.
Okay, my second guest, his name is Mr. Ricky. How are you? Look, Ricky.
Linda,
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Sita,
Can you introduce yourself? I know people, you've been here many times, but introduce yourself.
I know a few titles, but I just want to say that I'm the CNRP-A General Secretary of, here in the United States and Canada. That's enough. I wanted to.
And he is really busy, and he's really, out there supporting CNRP America, CNRP overseas. And so he's like, I don't think his phone ever stopped ringing every day.
Every day, that's true. Yes. And also helping the community too, the temple.
Exactly.
I'm the temple as well. And a teacher, full-time working.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Ricky, and thank you, Bong Sita, for being here today. You all be appreciated. Okay, let's talk about our topic. COVID-19 vaccine is the hottest thing in Cambodia. In America, is a little bit calmed down since we've been, since I believe most people, maybe half of the population might have got a vaccine already. Bong Sita, have you gotten vaccine yet?
Yeah, I was vaccinated back in January. When it first came out, a few months after it first came out, for healthcare provider, but I'm not the frontline healthcare provider, so I didn't get vaccinated in December. But I got vaccinated in January, and I didn't get any sickness for about time. So,
how about your family, your husband, your children?
Majority are, except my underage children. They did not get it yet, but they were infected during back in December, so they already have immune. Yeah, so they got infected, but I didn't. I don't know how that worked. I live in the same house. I try to quarantine them, but there's no absolute quarantine. But lucky I didn't. I didn't get it.
Yes. How
What
about you,
to your
Mr.
children?
Ricky?
Yeah,
Have
to
you
your
gotten
children.
yourself vaccinated yet? Since you are a teacher.
Oh yes, I had my first vaccination on March 4th,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's Pfizer, and then the second one, of course, is the same kind, Pfizer 2, on March 25th. That's the 3 weeks later, the second dose. So I was fine, and it takes like a couple of weeks for the medication for the vaccination to work. The first one cover like not 100%, 75%, and then the second dose will protect you about 95%. Again, it's not 100%. No vaccination is 100% guarantee.
Yes, I got my vaccine as well, but the first one I was okay. The second one is like a little sore on the arm, and that's about so there's no side effect to that. Mine's also Pfizer, and I know there are many people that I know they do got vaccinated as well. So I don't see many people that we know that refuse the vaccine. So I'm not sure if you experience anybody or you know anybody that refuse it, but I haven't met anybody yet.
No, I don't. They even those they are not the same kind like Moderna or Johnson and Johnson. People are lining up for the vaccination because they rather have some kind of protection better than nothing.
Correct, correct.
Right now.
And I think in California, I believe in LA, they are offering it to 16 and older now. I think the age is 16 now. So anyone that in high school that's 16 can also receive the vaccinations.
I think Joe Biden's policy try to cover it by April 19 will have all the 18-year-old and older vaccinated. I'm not sure about the younger, the minor, because it require parental approval, consent
Yes,
to approve them.
yes. So it's something that free will. Nobody forcing you to get the vaccine. They offer to you. You make an appointment and you show up for the vaccine. Unlike Hun Sen regime, where I guess for the last month been threatening people at people that work in the government, and then threatening people at the factory, saying that you have to get the vaccine or you're not going to allow to return to work, or your place at work will be replaced. Can you elaborate on that, Mr. Ricky? How is that working in Cambodia so far?
Yeah, I want to touch base on America a little bit. In this country, you're not forced to make your choice. It's up to you. It's your life. It's your own decision. It's your family. Because if something happened to a person who were forced to get vaccinated, and the person reacted somehow and end up dying, then the government will be sued big time. And there's many strong lawyers in this country, and that's why we respect the rights of American citizens, the right to choose here in this country. Over in Cambodia, on the other hand, is the opposite. The opposite, because they're ruled by this dictator for over, close to 40 years in 1985. Yeah, you can say 40 years now in power, and they have been using authoritarian rules over the innocent people, or forcing them, and then they quarantine village by village, or province by province, without providing them any support, financial support, or even just foods in general. That is one thing too. Unlike in this country, people get paycheck, stimulus check. Even those they are not getting quarantined, they get the check like everybody else. The U.S. government spent over $5 trillion already for the past years up to now. But on the other hand, Hun Sen's after he threatened first, he's the one that started the COVID. Put it that way, because he let the Chinese people that infected come to Cambodia, and he also asked, try to host the Amsterdam passenger on the ship. Remember those people, and they took them all over around the country. And now, people from China especially travel freely almost. And of course, they have a little quarantine there for a couple of days, and they left. And then when that person that got infected by COVID travel in the stores, in the markets, and then people all over that place get how do you say that, contagious, yeah, by this virus. And now people start getting sick. Is the situation is real. He used to say, oh, don't worry, until February 31st this coronavirus is not going to happen. But now you can see the numbers is 4,515 cases, and that is 30, and then recovered to 2,212. That's a lot. He should be held responsible for his act. And then at the meantime, he uses this scare tactic to force people to get the vaccine to get vaccinated. And then, I don't want to I don't want to talk too much. I want to give Sita some chances too. But that is what happened. He forced people to get COVID. They cannot refuse. If they refuse or they run away from the village, they will be charged 20,000 real to 1 million real. And people are scared because they cannot afford to pay the fine that much, because they cannot even make the end meets on a daily basis.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Were you forced to take your vaccine, Sita? Sita?
No, at will. Nobody is being forced, in United States. We see people on the news, and they came on and said, oh, I don't want to be vaccinated. They have the right. But they just put law, to take measure, prevention measure, wear mask, use hand sanitizer, and, be precaution when you go out there. They don't force quarantine. They ask people to quarantine when they being exposed, or when they are sick, or when they know that they have vaccine, but they don't force people. It's a different environment than Cambodia and the government in Cambodia, and we had high infection in the United States for a long time. And Cambodia didn't even have high infection at the beginning. Hun Sen did not believe in COVID. Remember, he said that anybody say COVID, and he threatened them and all that stuff. And then afterward, he said everybody has to go and get vaccine. I think it's a lot has to do with politics too. Since he had got the donation from China, he making people get the vaccine, and he's he's kind of hype up the COVID infection and all that stuff. But before, he was saying that nobody have vaccine in Cambodia. So we don't know what's the real truth behind all that, or we don't know the current number. We don't even know it's the right number. We only know what they report, and if they want to report what they want to report, they don't want to report before they didn't report. So that's the irony behind all this, the difference between Cambodia and in America and the Western world. That's they want to report what they want to report. So
yes, and you cannot report something that you didn't test on. You cannot report something that you don't. Basically, the regime doesn't test people. Doesn't say, hey, you work at factory, all these so close together. Let test every weekend and see the infection rate. And as I'm not sure how they test it right now. I know there's an ambulance going from town to town, going from factory to factory, looking for people that infections, are looking for the I guess the connection, the people that connect to the infected person. I don't know how many ambulance or how many that going. I always see it in different province, different town, and I mean going like catching people that that might be related or that might be related or have contact with the infected person.
They probably doing the tracing. We do it here too, but we do it willingly, not forcing people. And I think that way it's better because people willing to cooperate. And when you force people, you scare people away and make them hide, not telling the truth. And that's doesn't work that way.
I'm not sure in where you live, Mr. Ricky, and where you live in Sita, but where I live, every like twice a month on a Wednesday, every other Wednesday, they pass out food. They pass out box of food, and they don't check your ID. You can just go and get them, and that's how the government in this country is supporting. Support anybody who doesn't have a job. You can just go and get a box of food every other Wednesday. I'm not sure. Is that something that happening in where you live too, Mr. Ricky?
Yeah, that's the program to help people with in this pandemic at this tough time. I understand it. It happens in especially the low socioeconomic area where people cannot afford, and there are not a lot of people affected by this corona thing, the pandemic, because they lost their job, they could not get to work anywhere, so they are based on employment. Some people even lost businesses and homes. So the government tried their best to help, giving food to the needy one, and then also give them stimulus checks to help. And also, in the meantime, they qualify for unemployment as well. So that's what we have been seeing in this area, in this country. I mean, in these cities.
Yeah, the money is flowing in, and the food is available for pickup. To support anybody who's unemployment or who to support. Basically, if you have COVID-19, you able to claim that you stay home. So the company pay for you to stay home and make sure you are in quarantine for 14 days. You will not go out and not stay home and on an empty stomach. And you can pick up food, and the company supporting. Basically, the company and the government supporting you for the 14 days that you quarantine. And if you doesn't have a job, then you, like Mr. Ricky said, claim for unemployment. Unemployment is helping with paying your bill, and also the mortgage. Also, the mortgage company passed the payment as well to help out. If you don't have a job, the unemployment can only go so much to support the mortgage. So that's also the help from the government from the mortgage company. So that way, while you recover from your COVID, while you recover from unemployment, you have a roof on top of your head to, a roof on top of your head to make sure that your family is taken care of. How is the situation in Cambodia, Mr. Ricky? Does the government support? I heard there's number coming out on how much they're going to give, but I don't know when. Is there something like that's going on?
Let me add on one thing about what you just said that it did not mention yet about the law of the landlord. You know, if the person is in fact affected by the COVID-19, and the tenant doesn't have the money, the rent to pay, the landlord cannot evict them, cannot force them out.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have to. It's the guarantee by the law of California, and I'm sure about the state as well. So that's another protection too to help the needy. Yes, recently, just a couple of days ago, the government, Hun Sen regime, has declared 4 points, and they try to help the people with infected, those quarantined, and those that have the somehow their loans, or they even pay for the people that die too. They start with the death, the one infected, the one get quarantined, and the one that could not leave the village. So there are
Yes.
four sections to it, and I do not want to say that it's going to happen yet. It's only in the planning. We will wait and see. Once we see that happening, then we can say that it's going to happen. But uh, sometimes, they just say it just to impress the people that they have some planning. But who is going to pay for the money that they plan to help the death, the one infected, the one that got quarantined, and also their family? Because right now the government are struggling through the money to pay even government officials. They deduct their salary like 30%, 40%. In some cases, the general have to give up their salary like 5 months, 4 months, 5 months. And if they don't do it, they are going to lose their jobs. So I don't know if whose country is in the world is going to help with the government planning to help the COVID people. It's just to impress the medias, probably. I hope it's going to come true so that people, the Cambodian people, will get the benefit. So far they got nothing.
I think the most I think when it's come to water and electricity utility, I think the most they help probably like what 3 to 5 months. And
That's what they say, and the loan will be
forgiven, no,
paused.
pass, yes,
Yeah,
pass,
will
not
be
forgiven,
paused
pass.
for about a few months. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
again,
it.
it's the planning. They just started. The words just come out from the the regime, but we haven't seen any proof, any evidence yet. We
Yeah,
wait and see.
the planning should have come out like by this date we should be doing this and this and this, but it's go the opposite way. Oh, this is our plan. Okay, let's see. Yeah,
Hmm.
I have the informations on, if you happen to be infected with COVID-19 and you pass away, how much the regime going to give you. If you, like you said, if you get infected and you got your town got they not allow you to get out, and how much they help. But most of, I think, when it's come to utility and just, I think 3 to 5 months is probably the most they're going to give you. That if they even give to the people.
Any help would be grateful, I'm sure, for people who in that situation. But whether it's gonna be carried, the plan being carried through or not, that's another thing. Just have to wait and see. But as we've seen it in the United States, the high when right now it seems like Cambodia being infected, at the high rate than last year when we had the high rate over here, and it carry out so many months. So a few months not gonna cut it, because once the infection start, and it's like a snowball rolling, getting bigger and bigger. Hopefully that's not the case, but if they have only a few months plans, um, might not work. They need longer than that, longer than a few months.
I think when I was looking at it, I believe that people who actually stay home and quarantine, the the regime should be able to bring food to them, because they are not allowed to leave home. They and in Cambodia, I don't know how many family have refrigerator, and people buy food in the morning and have it for lunch. They go in the afternoon and buy the fresh fruit, fresh meat for dinner. And if someone get infected and they have to stay home, who gonna bring them food? I mean, there's a guard staying outside to watch them, make sure they're not leaving, but who gonna bring them food while they quarantine?
Mhm.
It
They
just,
they should have. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, they should put law into place like we do here. If not like we do here, maybe something similar. Just enforce the law, but not force the law on people. And people are willing to take precaution measure, wear masks, go out there with with hand sanitizer or anything to protect themselves from spreading the virus. And I think what they need is education. A lot more education on how to take precaution measure, and that way they don't just force them to stay in the house, not without reasonable, go get food and stuff like that. It's just doesn't seem to be effective. I'm sure people are still gonna be going out and do things that what they have to do to feed their family, But and that situation, it's make things worse, because when people hide, the people try to do things sneak to do things. But without the education on how to protect themselves and protect others, it's even more dangerous than educate people, and then they go out there with protection, with protection measure, So I think they just need to do it the right way instead of what they've been doing, and it's not effective, I don't think.
When you're talking about educations, let me bring up some educations. Cambodia been watching America for the whole 12 months on how infection rate in America keep going up and what in America do. If the leadership in the country is to pay attention and care about his people, which is in Cambodia, he would say on February 20, like, this is what we're gonna do. But instead of, oh, there's a plan on February 20, no, he was giving all these informations that it's not even have a plan in place for people who infections, and so the rate keep going up until this day. He only have, it's not a plan, he have, I guess, 3 things that you preventing, 3 prevention, and 3, I couldn't even translate it, whatever it is that they say. It's like that's all he got. Mr. Ricky, can you help me out on this 3 slogan?
I am not going to spend time talking about the reckless government.
Exactly, because it's like the whole year. He should able to say on February 20, here's our plan, because we are watching the Western world, the rate keep going up. We should have plan on this.
They are irresponsible. They don't even think about the safety of the people, and that should be. Cambodia is only 15, 16 million people, very small, the population, and they got a lot of help from their own people too. I believe over 50 or 70 million dollars were raised just among themselves. That's the plan, but to collect the money from those people, and then where do they use the money for? And plus, they got the money from outside too to help, because Hun Sen was backing outside help, and the donors, donor countries, provide them millions of dollars too, including the United States, to help with this COVID. But what did Hun Sen do? He just talked and talked and talked. And sometimes his words are not even helpful. It's just scare people. And when the real plan comes, he play around with words a lot, so many times, as we heard it again and again. Like he said, COVID is not going to come until February 31st. Which never happened. And he said, "Oh, don't even wear masks." At that time, the United States was suffering. The COVID infected disease was skyrocketing, was very high. Thousands and thousands of people die, and here's COVID. Hun Sen is trying to play around, to joke around. He said, "If you wear a mask, I'm gonna kick you out from this meeting hall." Do you remember that statement? Yes. Don't even wear. That's not gonna come. That's what he was saying. But then he said later on, when he tried to please the Chinese government about the Sinopharm that was brought to China, I said, "Oh, you have to be careful. You have to get yourself vaccinated. Your family need to be vaccinated." And then from the age of 59 and down, right now he said you get the Sinopharm, and then from 18 and up you get Sinovac. What is the clear number here between, where's the number meet? 18 and up, 59 and down. And then for himself, he said for the people that are 60 years old and older will get the AstraZeneca. So I don't see any real proof or evidence yet, because I don't think he has enough. Actually, he did not have enough. He only have for 20 million doses. And for 20 million doses, you have to protect only 10 million people, because each person need 2 doses. So only 10 million people. And when let's connect it to what Acting President Sam Rainsy said yesterday, and his response to it. So Mr. Sam Rainsy said, you know what? After studying and study rigorous scientific observation, there is no proof that this Chinese corona medicine or vaccination, the Sinopharm, has the adversely affect kill the people. There's no proof. But on the other hand, if you have corona, you might have a chance of end up dying. So let's get yourself vaccinated. And that's what made Hun Sen mad. He said, why do you say that? How come you don't say that a long time ago? Well, back in December 14 of 2020, between December 14 and December 15, Hun Sen said, don't even worry. I am not going to bring any vaccination that is not approved by the World Health Organization. Don't worry. But then at the beginning of this year, he started bringing Sinopharms and to get the people vaccinated, force the soldiers and the government officials to get vaccinated. And we say, no, don't do that, because it's what you said, it's not true. What you said, that the World Health Organization doesn't approve Sinopharm yet. Why do you bring it to Cambodia? They're not rats, they're not mouse, they're not animals. So don't use that as the to test on the people like that, because the World Health Organization need the Sinopharm to get approval after they get 700,000 people vaccinated. But then when we see the COVID spread throughout the country, some LP Sam Rainsy, Mr. Sam Rainsy said, okay, let's get the vaccine to protect yourself, better than nothing, right? And then that's what made Hun Sen mad, because he doesn't have enough vaccination. He said, no, we are not going to do it. Remember, he was quarantining people. He forced people to get vaccinated, and people were worried about it. But now Hun Sen worried about not having enough vaccination to provide the people that are lining up to get vaccinated to protect themselves.
Could it be that he mad because his word it's not effective, whereas His Excellency Excellency Sam Rainsy say something and people line up? I think that is the real mad about it.
It sounds like it. Yep. Yeah, and I think Sam Rainsy came out and said, because their report backing up that the WHO's World Health Organization came out and said that they are going to approve the Chinese vaccine, the 2 Chinese vaccine, by the end of April. And so that's why I believe that he came out and said, because it's backing up by the WHO's, even though it's not officially approved, but they are in line to be approved. They study the document already, and it's in the report all over the world, all over the news as well. So you're right, Linda. I think right now the Hun Sen being mad, it's not because he's running out of vaccine, but because Sam Rainsy is saying, hey, go get it, and people believe more toward Sam Rainsy than Hun Sen. So, well, that's what it is.
His word with a scientific evidence, backup evidence, not just say hey, you go get it. You don't get it, then you're not going to have a job anymore. That's just scaring people. That's scare tactic. Whereas Mr. Samrangsi, he said, there's since December until now, there's not enough evidence and not enough evidence that there's more harm than good. So Hun Sen is pushing the people to get it, threaten people, factory worker and government official to get them. And so, you know what, it's no evidence. So go and get the vaccine. And even though CNRP consider a dissolved political party in Cambodia, and his word from Paris have more meaning than the Hun Sen himself in the country, I guess that is the issue.
Well, Mr. Samrangsi has evidence to prove, and he compared to we have three kinds of vaccination in America. Johnson & Johnson was the last one, and Johnson & Johnson is only one shot, which is about 60% guarantee that people would not 100%, is again 60%, but at least it's something to protect yourself from being infected by the COVID. And that's what Samrangsi said to the encourage the people of Cambodia to say, yes, let's go get your vaccination now. Do not just ignore it, get it, because there's no evidence to prove that it's this Sinopharm or Sinovac kill the people compared to the number of people that die of COVID. So which is the best? So take your chance and then get yourself. He did not say you must. He say you should. Not like Hun Sen say. First Hun Sen say you must. Everyone must get vaccinated by village by after village. He's even planned for 20 months for those 20 million doses. But I don't think it's again his words. Must. But then when sometimes he say should, see the must and the should is a big difference. One is used by authority, the other one used by the normal people, the layman. Say should. People believe in the should because it's evidence, it's not force. Okay, then he line up. The people believe in scientific evidence that was the statement that made by Mr. Samrangsi. And
It's just not
so mad, yeah.
It's not just must, Mr. Rikia. You must get it or you're not getting your job. You must get it or you're not returning to work. And not just must, continue on must, and you must do this or you don't get this. It is not you must
you'll
get
be fine too. Yeah. You must do this or you must be fine. See, must everywhere.
Must everywhere, and you must do this or we'll replace you. People are willing to be working in your position and you don't get vaccine. So it's threatening and adding to the must.
And when people respond to something, see when Hun Sen must and now they go, and then Hun Sen say, "Oh no, we don't have enough for you." So what is going on? Why do you change your word right there? You force people to do it. People do it now, and you said you don't have enough for it. Come on, this is the leader that has been saying one thing and do the others for over the years.
40 years, I believe. We talking about vaccine. I always tell people, it doesn't matter that politics is related to their life, related to their daily life. Because it's very important that citizens pay attention to politics, pay attention to what's going on around them, pay attention to what the regime is telling them. Take, for example, this COVID-19 vaccine. In December, we already know that China is going to give the Cambodia the vaccine. And people never thought until, I guess, this month that they must have this vaccine. So it's been 4 months. So it's become a reality that people need to pay attention to their surrounding. People need to pay attention to politicians because whatever politicians say, it's affect them. So don't just say, you know what, it's politics, it doesn't relate it to me, but it's related. Sita, would you like to say anything? How important that people pay attention to their surrounding, especially the regime?
Oh yeah, the word of politicians, the word of leaders have great effect on the people. People looked up to their leaders, whether it's here in America, around the world, in Cambodia too. You know, if Hun Sen use his word wisely instead of forcing people, people would listen. But he's been, like we all been talking about it already, you must do this or you're going to lose this. You must do that or you're going to be fined. So make people run and hide. And so over here, again, they put law in place and they ask people to be to follow those laws, and majority of people follow those laws. Very small amount of people that don't follow those, you know, those mandatory, not mandatory, but recommendation. Even when we had shut down, but they still allow people to go out and buy food. Not absolute shutdown, no. So it's the words of the leader have great effect on people, definitely.
Thank you, Bang Sita. How about you, Mr. Ricky? How do you think like leader should the Cambodian in Cambodia pay attention, especially the youth? They should pay attention to what the leader or what's in politics, because those will definitely affect them.
Yes, politics is part of our lives. It doesn't matter how old you are, and the leaders are the one that leading the country. And if the leaders are not leading the country the right way, the people that live in that country will be suffer. For example, in Cambodia or Burma or anywhere else too, that are using their iron fist, you know, like absolute power on the people. Communists, for example, North Korea is an example too. You see, people are suffering when they don't follow the rule of law, when there's no democracy or human rights, as the constitution, even the constitution that is respected in Cambodia. It's not. So when the leaders are not using the rule of law, there is no justice. When there is no justice, there is no peace. Just like Madame Musahu said earlier, when there is no peace, there's no justice. There's no justice because there's no independent investigation. And look at what our leaders in Cambodia has been doing for years, and we are suffering it all the time. So I want the youth, the Cambodian youth especially, to pay attention to what the leader have been leading you to. Okay, there's a choice for you to choose. Either you stay still and be quiet and do nothing, stay idle, and that leader will take you to let the leader decide your own destination, or you're going to take some action and do something to change the leaders. So life is a matter of choice. If you just don't do anything, you will end up being taken to wherever you are right now, and it's going to get worse. But if you try to say, hey, you need to take some action, you know, unite with the people that that want to change, that want to stop this regime from torturing the people like they have been doing it for over so many years, 4 decades already, then you need to take some action, get involved in politics, understand it, and be open-minded. Don't just because you are in the CPP and then you say, oh, you guys are talking nonsense, it doesn't make sense to me. Please stop and think and consider our words, because we spend a lot of time, hours and hours every day in Cambodia, in Cambodian or in Khmer, and also in English, trying to persuade, to tell people to say, wait a minute, we have the choice. We want to change. We want to change into the country to a better place for our future generations. We don't want our children to live like what we have been doing right now, you know. So let's get involved and make noise and speak out your words. And of course, you are protected under the Constitution. There will be some hatred going on because you speak your truth. You speak the truth. But remember, what is right is not always popular. You're going to bring in some people chasing you, scolding at you, hating you. But again, what is popular is not always right. So I want to leave people used to think about those words. Speak your mind. Don't be afraid. Just do what is right better than staying still. If you stay still, you're gonna participate, and nothing's gonna change. It's gonna only get worse.
And sooner or later, it will affect their life.
Oh
It
yes,
just sooner or
absolutely.
later, it's not.
Right now,
Yeah, like right now, the
right
vaccine.
now,
How can you
it's
not
gonna be
affect it?
later.
They are going to work. Now they're making go factory worker. It's affecting their life.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah, those
that's
factory workers need to be involved in political making process. Don't let those elite group force them or do whatever they want. Don't even get their bribe. 50 or 20,000 reals in 5 years. Get a little gift, like a clothes, or some gift, a little bag of rice, or even a bottle of soy sauce for every 5 years. Don't do that. Your life not depend on those little gifts. Those are the bribes for you to vote for them. But later on, look what happened. Once they get in power, they use their power to kill you, to torture you, to threaten you, to intimidate you all the time. You cannot speak just the way, just to tell other people, say, hey, don't go get a shot because that shot is going to hurt you, going to affect you. If you just talk about that, you're going to go to jail right now as we speak. Is that the life you want to be in? So those youth need to stand up and speak your mind, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Sita, do you have anything to add to the youth topic?
Yeah, I just want to add, piggyback on what Mr. Ricky said about the change with the youth. Every society that gone through great change uh, have young people involved, and they are the livelihood of the big great change for society in throughout history. Uh, doesn't matter during the civil rights in America. Majority of young people lead by the elder, but and in Khmer in the past, college student they rise up and join the movement, make change, and we need that now in Cambodia. It's for their livelihood. It's for their family livelihood. It might not affect them right now, what's going on, but down the road, it will surely creep slowly, will affect their livelihood and their family. And I'm sure it affects a lot already. That's why people move to different country to get jobs, to Korea, to Thai, to everywhere else to get jobs, because we don't have enough job in Cambodia. So, and another thing I want to add also, people think that, oh, that's politics. I don't want to, everything, like look, we just said, everything is politics. Every livelihood is politics, and involved in your livelihood. You going to the market, you talk to people about, how their days, things happen in the society affect their livelihood. That's politics. So we in Khmer society, we separate politics versus everything else. But actually, politics is in every aspect of our life. So we need to change that mindset to incorporate all together, that the things that are happening in the society will affect them, will affect their family, will affect their futures. And if they don't get involved, only a few pop up and get involved, they get thrown in jail, they get scared, But if a lot get involved, just like in Myanmar, look, there's no jail for everybody. Of course, people are going to get hurt. But if you want change, you need to make movement. You need to get up and stand up and make noise. Otherwise, when will we get the change? We're waiting for the politician to make change. Politicians, not enough politician, to make the change. We need the people to make the change. Politicians just kind of pave the way, but that's it. You need the real people from the grassroots to make the change. So
And I want to add, sorry, Linda, I mean, Sita, are you done?
no, yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to add one thing about what Sita has been saying. Yes, even a family, we have politics too, leading by the parents. The parents are trying to figure out which is the best way to raise my kids, or we have say 3 kids, 3 children in our house, and each of them behave differently. How do you deal with this older one? How do we deal with the younger one? We use politics all the time to bribe them, to praise them, to encourage them. And if they misbehave so bad, then we say we use some kind of punishment like timeout or taking the privilege away from them. That's part of politics. But it's happened in the small family setting compared to, and it's of course in our community, it's politics involved in the state, and then lead to the country. Anyway, let me add on to what has been happening in Cambodia, and also compared to Myanmar or Burma. A lot of people are probably afraid that, look, there is nothing happening. No one came. The UN did not get step in to help. There are over 600 people right now die, and UN doesn't come in to help rescue, to help force the dictator out. This, and also in Cambodia, if we stand up like in Burma, things like that will happen, and nobody's going to help us, just like in Burma. That is not true. People need to understand the differences. In Cambodia, we have the Paris Peace Accord, signed by 18 or 19 countries back on October 23rd, 1991. It's guaranteed that the human rights need to be respected, the rule of law, and also the Cambodia needs to have these agreement in place all the time, and the agreement never die. It stay on. When something happen, like in the case of Burma or Myanmar, there is no Paris Peace Accord. There is no Paris Peace Accord for them. And right now they try to propose, like the 3 superpower, France, British, and America, try to impose a sanction on Myanmar. I keep saying Myanmar because I like Burma better, because that's an old word. Anyway, the Chinese and the Russian veto, and then nothing's going to happen. If even one country veto, then the UN will not step in. Or if there are 2, let's say the Russian and the Chinese abstain, then the 3 will make the decision. The UN will come to help Burma. For as long as there's some veto in the 5 permanent members of the United Nations, then the UN will not be able to step in at all. For Cambodia, it's different. If people stand up and try to protest against this dictator who rules for so long and hurt a lot of people, if they, if Hun Sen start to pull the trigger and kill, just like what the military in Myanmar did, then the UN starts stepping in, because the Paris Peace Accords will start be coming back. So it's still there, but it's waiting to help the people. So people need to not be afraid. It's different from Cambodia, different from Burma, from Myanmar. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky, for explanation. Yes, it's well pointed out, because many people asking, if we doing that in Cambodia, this is going to happen. You know what? It's not going to happen, and we need the youth to stand up. We need the youth to say, the regime decision will affect them. And today is a good example that we're talking about the vaccine. It's affect them. It's not. Now you don't have to go and say, don't take the vaccine anymore. If you stay home and you don't go take the vaccine, you're in trouble as well. Not even doing anything, not even talking. So that is the situation right now. So before we end, this week we are welcoming our New Year. So I would like Bong Sita to wish our audience a Happy New Year, and then followed by Mr. Ricky. Is that okay?
ខ្ញុំអត់ចេះឲ្យពរផងមែនទេ
It's
You can
okay.
speak
Go
some
ahead.
English, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
oh, I'm mixing in the language. There you go.
Yep.
So I just want to say, new year, new prosperity, new hope for our country, for our people. Let's do this together, and we'll bring new hope and new prosper for our future, our children's future.
Thank you, Bong. And
Yeah.
now Mr. Ricky, and now you get the floor.
Okay. Well, for this upcoming new year, for our audiences, CNRP America audiences have been watching us, following us all along, supporting us, supporting our shows all the time. May this new year bring you good health, prosperity, and longevity always. And may you be blessed with the 3 gems, that Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and will live a happy life full of happiness. Thank you, Linda. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky, and thank you, Bong Sita, for today. And to our audience, Happy Khmer New Year. We wish you, nothing else besides good health. Good health.
Stay
That's all we
Happy
need,
New
good
Year.
health.
Right.
Yeah. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
Yes, get vaccinated, and in order to end the pandemic, get vaccinated, and hopefully there's more vaccines coming to Cambodia. We are at the end of our show. Thank you for joining our show. And like I said earlier, I wish everybody a happy new year, and most of all, have a good health. That's our health is the most important thing, and everything else we can find. So happy Khmer New Year, and please help to support our petitions ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. We only have 72,000 signatures, so please help us. Your support is very important at change.org. Thank you and good night.